Hello everyone, FPL Raptor here and welcome back to another daily price change prediction video here on the Fantasy Football Fix YouTube channel. In these daily price change prediction videos, we bring you the latest news with respect to potential price rises and potential price falls. If you're looking to build up your team value, win your mini leagues and improve your overall rank, you are in the right place. In today's video, we'll be taking a quick look at the predicted price changes for this evening, of which there are not that many because there were so many last night. We're then going to jump onto a statistical comparison between two very in-demand players at the moment, and then I'm going to go through a few of my top transfer targets ahead of the upcoming weeks that have good underlying stacks and good fixtures as well. If you are enjoying the content here on this channel, please do remember to like, comment and subscribe. But without further ado, let's jump into today's video. So guys, as I said, we're going to quickly go through the predicted price changes for this evening first. As you can see on your screen, just to the left of me on your screen, there are two player touch maps. As per my previous videos, I'm going to leave them there just whilst I go through the predicted price changes. Comment down below before you look, no cheating, which of the two players do you think that is? So the one closest to me and the one furthest away, which two players do you think we're going to be comparing in the next section? So I'll just leave them there, take a look at them, take a look at the positions they're picking up and let us know down below who you think they are. Predicted price changes for this evening, incredibly boring because there were so many in the last couple of days. So at the time of recording, there are only two players predicted to rise in price and there are three players predicted to fall in price. And then there is one slightly noteworthy one predicted to rise in price tomorrow. So tonight, the most noteworthy price change is Joshua King is predicted to rise in price. At the time of recording, it is at 99.6%. If you're new to price changes and you've never been over to our site, for a player to be predicted to rise in price, they need to be at 100%. So he's pretty much there with respect to being at that threshold, and he's rising at 1% per hour. So by the time the price changes happen later in the evening, if he's still rising at roughly that rate, then I do think he will rise tonight. However, if the transfer activity slows down, it might not be tonight, it might end up being tomorrow. Either way, I do think Joshua King will get a price rise before the deadline. He's currently exactly the same price as Dennis, and I did tweet about this earlier on. At the prices they're at, Joshua King is definitely the better option in my opinion. He's got better underlying stats and he is on penalties. We did compare Dennis and King in the transfer targets video earlier in the week. I'll try and remember to link that above. We compared Dennis and King, Bowen and Fornals, and Dallow and Davies for some cheaper defenders as well. So if you're interested in those comparisons, go watch that video. But I do think King is the one to own. So if you're looking to bring him in and you want to pay 5.7 rather than 5.8, you might have to move tonight. Outside of that, the other player predicted to get a price rise, which is really random, is Eric Dyer. Now, at the time of recording, again, I don't know what the COVID situation is with respect to Tottenham's game against Brighton, but it sounds like Tottenham are going to appeal to have the game postponed due to having up to now 8 players testing positive in their first team with coronavirus, 2 members of staff as well. So it looks quite likely that the Tottenham-Brighton game will be called off. Even if it's not called off, they're missing half their defence and half their attack. The likes of Son, Davies, Emerson Royale are all supposedly the players that have tested positive for coronavirus. So keep an eye on that. But Eric Dyer does look like he's rising in price. He's currently at 100.7% and he's rising very slowly at 0.3% per hour. So even by the time this evening swings around, he's going to be right on that threshold. So it will be touch and go as to whether Eric Dyer does end up increasing in price. The 3 players predicted to decrease in price, I won't go through in detail because they're just not that noteworthy once again. It's Ogbonna, Tielemans and Danny Ings. I assume most of you won't own any of those by now, but if you do and you want to get rid, I would do so tonight because they look like they're all going to be falling. And then the player that's predicted to rise in price tomorrow, I just think it's worth keeping an eye on because I know a lot of you have like the likes of Jose Sarr and potentially Sanchez if the Brighton-Tottenham game is called off. David De Gea looks like he might be rising in price tomorrow or potentially it might be Friday evening. So if you're looking to bring in a keeper and David De Gea is on your list, just keep an eye on that. He might be going up to 5.1 tomorrow evening, but unless something crazy happens tonight, that shouldn't end up being tonight. And that's pretty much it. Like I said, there's been a lot of price changes recently, which you can check over at the Fantasy Football Fix website. You can go on to recent price changes and find out who has changed in price. But outside of that, there's not really that much going on at the moment. So we're going to switch to taking a look at that statistical comparison now. And those two players, did you guess it or not? They are Bernardo Silva and Ilkay Gundogan. Now, I do still maintain, in my personal opinion, Phil Foden might be the one to own. He was very nailed before his injury, playing a lot of minutes, potentially playing in the false 9 position at times, taking lots of shots, getting into the box a lot. I think he had double the amount of touches in the box that Gundogan and Bernardo Silva has. He's something like 6.5 touches in the box, so very involved. He's got a really nice combination between being fairly nailed because he just doesn't have much competition in the positions that he plays in, and also having really good underlying statistics. Bernardo Silva and Gundogan, for me, they both have pros, but they also have cons. So If Foden is confirmed as being fully fit, I do still think I would lean towards Foden, even with the price differences. But Foden did pick up a potential injury in the Champions League, and therefore a lot of us are now looking towards Bernardo Silva or Gundogan instead. As I said in the first section, there is potential that the Spurs game will be postponed, and even if not, even if it isn't postponed, Son is rumoured to be one of the ones with COVID. So if you own Heung-min Son, I do think it is a nice downgrade to Bernardo or Gundogan, because in the process, you're saving about £3 million. You can use that to get in Ronaldo or upgrade to King or Antonio in the attacks. There are lots of different things you can do with that. Here are their touch maps. As you can see, neither of them have that many touches in the box, but they are occupying very different positions. Bernardo Silva tends to play most of his play out wide. Even when he is getting into the box, you can see a lot of it is out wide to the left. Both of them have taken a few corners, as you can see, but Gundogan is definitely taking more corners, a lot of those in-swinging corners. However, when De Bruyne is back on the pitch, when Foden's on the pitch, when they've got all of their starting 11 on the pitch, I'm not sure either of these will be first choice on penalties. So just taking a look at the touch maps, I wouldn't say either of them strike me as being that amazing, but at the same time, they're very involved, and they're getting into some good positions in and around the edge of the box at the very least. When we take a look at shots, Gundogan's obviously shooting a little bit more. And it is worth noting that Gundogan has played about 400 minutes less, or 350, 360 minutes less than Bernardo Silva. And he's already had more shots than him. Both of them are getting a lot of shots. Most of their goals have been like from inside the 6-yard box, those little tap-ins, because City just tick-attack their way into the goal and you just end up getting those tap-ins. But Gundogan in particular, that is where he scores his goals. He's so impressive with respect to just timing his runs perfectly and getting those little tap-ins. But it is worth noting Gundogan is shooting a lot more. What I would say is a lot of Gundogan's shots are outside the box in comparison to Bernardo Silva's only got 2 shots outside the box. So really not that much difference between the two, but Gundogan is definitely shooting more at the very least. Attempted assist-wise, fairly similar, but once again, Gundogan has played less minutes. But you can see a lot of Gundogan's attempted assists is coming from corners. So I'm not necessarily sure whether once you take away corners, he'll have the same creative threat that Bernardo Silva has, where all as Bernardo Silva are coming from open play, which is really impressive. If we just scroll down and take a look at their per 90 stats, as you know I like to do, Gundogan does definitely come out on top, as you would expect. We've spoken about it on quite a few occasions. Gundogan does have the better underlying statistics. The thing that Bernardo Silva comes out on top on is goals, right? There's the joke on Twitter at the moment that football is played on grass, i.e. stop looking at underlying statistics. Bernardo is in form. He's performing well. Bring him in. And there could be something to say for that, especially psychologically. You guys know I'm interested in psychology. And there's something to say for motivation and also confidence as well. Bernardo Silva is clearly high in confidence. He's been rested in the Champions League as well, ready for the weekend game. So I don't dislike that at all. So 0.32 goals per 90 for Gundogan, 0.52 goals per 90 for Bernardo Silva. However, expected goals, which is probably a better indication of future returns, Ilkay Gundogan 0.49 per 90, which is incredibly impressive. 0.3 for Bernardo Silva. Again, that isn't bad for Bernardo Silva by any means, and I don't want this to come across that Bernardo Silva's stats are bad. It's just that Gundogan's are much better and Foden's are much better as well. Shots-wise, again, as we've just seen in the shot maps, Gundogan is taking more shots, 2.68 per 90 to Bernardo Silva's 1.34. Bernardo Silva slightly more shots in the box, which again we identified with that shot map. 0.82 in the box for Bernardo, 0.75 for Gundogan. The other interesting one is expected assists. This is a lot closer. Bernardo at 0.23, Gundogan at 0.27. So that puts Bernardo Silva's expected goal involvement at 0.53. That puts Gundogan's expected goal involvement at 0.76. So you can see there is definitely a difference between the two. That is quite a stark contrast. Gundogan coming out on top on both, but it's that expected goals, that goal threat that Gundogan brings that is definitely significantly better than Bernardo Silva's. Attempted assist-wise, as we said, Gundogan is making significantly more attempted assists, but a lot of those are from corners. If you take the corners out of the equation, I'd say Bernardo Silva is actually the more creative of the two. And then big chances created, very similar, and then crosses, a slightly irrelevant stat because Bernardo's been playing a lot wider. He is getting a lot more crosses in. So I guess this would suggest that Gundogan has the better underlying statistics and therefore we should bring him in. However, there are 2 things to note here. Bernardo Silva is more nailed. So when we're taking a look at underlying statistics per 90, we are assuming they play 90 minutes. Gundogan will miss, I think, more games than Bernardo Silva. And even when they both play, Bernardo tends to see out the 90 minutes more so. However, Kevin De Bruyne coming back, we really don't know how this will affect the team. There is a lot of evidence to suggest, because of past seasons, that when Gundogan and KDB play together, Gundogan is significantly less of a goal threat. The positions he picks up doesn't make those marauding fun runs as often. He's not on as many corners and set pieces. He just doesn't get into the box as often. So that is something to note. However, we're not really discussing the effect this has on Bernardo Silva, and it will have an effect on him because there are less positions to occupy. Yes, Bernardo Silva can play in the false nine, but a lot of the play that he's been playing can be at like the right centre mid in that number 8 role. De Bruyne plays there very well. De Bruyne can play in the false nine, so can Foden, so can Sterling. Gundogan's been playing pretty well at left centre mid, so we really don't know how De Bruyne being back will affect all of this. Grealish as well, we haven't even spoken about there. There are so many players to fit in, and I do wonder whether we keep rambling on about how De Bruyne will impact Gundogan. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be fine for Bernardo Silva. So, worth considering, but I think it is fair to say at the moment at least, Bernardo Silva is the more nailed. Gundogan has the better underlying statistics. I'm not going to tell you which one to bring in. I would probably go for the expected minutes just over the busy period. I just think if you can get a City player that's playing almost every minute for their team and they're going to score a lot of goals over this Christmas period, I think I would want the one that's going to be playing a lot more because Gundogan might miss out the 2 or 3 games that you really want him for. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Gundogan play the majority of minutes as well. Like I said, I do think Foden's a great option as well. So if Foden's confirmed fit, maybe do your own statistical comparison and bring Foden in. But for me, I would just about lean to Bernardo, but I think both are great options. You could even go for the double up if you was really feeling that. So guys, just thought we'd finish up with me giving you my top 5 transfer targets ahead of Game Week 16 and beyond. These are the 5 players that if I could recommend you bringing in, I would. 4 of them are sort of safe, I really would. And then I've just chucked in Marcus Rashford at the end. That is more of a gut feeling thing. So I'm not saying that his stats have been bad. They've been all right. But we just haven't seen enough of him since returning from injury for me to suggest him from a statistical point of view and from a sensible content creator perspective. I've just got a feeling that Rashford could do very, very well over the coming weeks. So King, Bowen, Antonio, and Ronaldo would be my sensible 4 transfers personally. 3 of those are strikers. So if you've got the likes of Ivan Toney, you've got 3 options there. If I were on a wild card, without a shadow of a doubt, my front 3 would be King, Antonio, and Ronaldo. I think you've got 3 different price points there, and you've got 3 players with very good underlying statistics, good fixtures, and the teams are playing decently. Obviously, Manchester United, we haven't seen a lot under Rangnick, but I do expect them to improve. And Watford and West Ham have been pretty free scoring. So King, Antonio, and Ronaldo would be my top 3 strikers. And then I've put Bowen in here. Outside of Phil Foden, I think Bowen would be my priority transfer in midfield. So I was looking to bring Phil Foden in for Heung-min Son this week. Because of Foden's potential injury, I could go for Bernardo Silva or Gundogan. I think I might just go for Bowen. Save the money. They've got Burnley this week, Arsenal the week after, then a really, really nice run of fixtures. I think it's Norwich in game week 18. So they've got some really, really good fixtures. I think I want to get on Bowen sooner rather than later. He did increase in price last night, which is slightly annoying. I didn't move early because with everything up in the air at the moment, there's no chance of me moving early. But I think if I could suggest someone in midfield, it would be Bowen. I do like Fornals. And again, if you did watch my transfer targets video earlier on in the week, I compared Bowen and Fornals. Bowen just has better underlying statistics. So if you can get up to Bowen, who of course is £0.5 million more expensive now, I still would try it if you can. And like I said, Rashford, I've just put on there. I've just got a feeling. I think Sancho and Rashford could both do very well. What I have noted about the two of them and the way they play, not only in the past, but also this season when I've seen them, Rashford is just a more goal-hungry individual. I'm not necessarily saying that's backed up by the stats, but when you watch them, you can tell Rashford is about the goals. Sancho's play is excellent, but he's very, very creative. He tends to occupy quite a few wide areas as well. Rashford also tends to play on the left, cutting in on his right foot. Sancho's obviously playing a lot on the right, cutting in onto his weak left foot, so he's getting more crossing positions and passing positions. I'm not saying Sancho's a bad shout, but he is also coming off very, very early, Sancho, around the 60th, 70th minute quite a lot, whereas I think Rashford will see out a few more games just because of his fitness and pressing is very impressive. This is just a gut feeling thing again. It might be that Sancho sees 90 minutes out in the next 5 games. I've just got a feeling about Rashford. So if you are looking for a real punt, maybe you go for that. I've just compared them all on a couple of stats here, which are 2 all-encompassing stats. The first is expected FPL involvements per game. You can see that King and Ronaldo come out on top. Bowen very, very shortly behind. Then you've got Antonio, and then at the very end, you've got Rashford. Like I said, the stats aren't really backing up this pick. It's just a bit of a gut feeling. But Ronaldo and King, definitely the 2 best here. Bowen very, very close, and Antonio's dropped off slightly. That's because this is over the last 6 game weeks, and we know Antonio has struggled a little bit over the last few games. If this was across the entire season, Antonio would be right up there. And then the final one is expected FPL points per 90 rather than expected involvements. And you can see actually here, Bowen comes out on top. Now, the reason for this, his underlying stats are very, very impressive, Bowen, but he also gets the extra point for a goal and he gets the extra point for a clean sheet as well. So his expected FPL points are top of the list, and it just shows you at 6.5 million, playing in an attacking West Ham team with great fixtures. When Antonio does miss out, he could play up front. I do think that Bowen should be one of your priority transfers this week. And then Ronaldo comes in at second at 5. So if you are looking for a cheeky captaincy shout, or you just want to replace Kane or potentially Vardy or anyone like that with another premium, I don't mind going straight to Ronaldo. But if you want to downgrade, King and Antonio could probably do a job for you. Those are my top 5 transfer targets, along with a couple of the City boys as well. Let me know down below. Any other transfer targets you think I've missed? Have you brought in any of these in already? And if not, which are you looking to bring in? So guys, there you have it. Those are the predicted price changes for this evening, of which there are not a lot. Then a bit of a statistical comparison between Bernardo Silva and Gundogan. Do let me know down below which of the two you prefer. And after that, my top 5 transfer targets. And once again, do let me know which of those you're looking to bring in, if any, and if I've missed out any potential transfer targets that you've already brought in. If you are enjoying the content here on this channel, please do remember to like, comment, and subscribe. It's free for you guys. We appreciate the support so very much. And if you do want to check the price changes for yourself or use any of the features that I've just used there, the fixed comparison matrix, the player heat maps, the stat sandbox, whatever it may be, you can do so by heading over to fantasyfootballfix.com or by downloading the free app. And there are some things on there, including the price predictor as well. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Good luck with Game Week 16. Cheers. Bye-bye.